Welcome in on a Wednesday, ready to talk some Michigan football, and there's plenty to talk about. Good thing we've got former Wolverine Jim Scarcelli with us here, and Scar, the national championship 9 days ago, and now we're into January, and all the things that go on, in January, the transfer portal, and recruiting, and Harbaugh interviewing with NFL teams, all the stuff that we're used to. After the season's over, we're into it now here in January. How you doing?
Yeah, it never ends, man. These guys put these crazy hours in, and I remember a few years back, I was inquiring about possibly being one of those analysts, and I was told, 6 to 10. Those are the hours, 6 to 10. And I said, that's just during the season, right? No, that's not just during the.
That doesn't sound that bad. 6 p.m. to 10 p.m.
No,
or 6 in the morning to 6 in the morning to 10 a.m. Those are pretty
6 a.m., Denny. You go to work when it's dark. You come home when it's dark. That's the kind of crazy. And these guys are doing it all the time. So this time of year is just as busy. Phone is ringing, contacting high school, college, transfer this, and new coaches. And by the way, though, I got the Lions. Had to throw out the Lions gear. I'm always wearing maize and blue. Got my Lions Detroit North champion. That's another topic for another day. But yeah, a lot of stuff going on, and it never ends for a college coach.
Well, let's work through it. We're going to talk about the transfers and also some of the coaches that are moving around as well. Of course, Jim Harbaugh. And we are going to get to some film, but I want to make this a programming note. 2 really quick programming notes. Now, we do this show live. And if you've noticed the last couple of lives we have done with video, we've gotten those taken down by YouTube. So what we decided to do is just do this live show here, and then we will go to another live 5 minutes after and do the video there in case it gets taken down. So that's just how that's going to work. I would also put this programming reminder out there if you have not noticed in 2024, 15 minutes before this show starts at 1:45 on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. I now do a meat and potatoes sports update for Michigan. Michigan, what's going on with the team? What's going on in recruiting? What's going on in the transfer portal? It's straight to the news. It's short. It's tight. It's nice and neat for you with a bow. And that is there for you. You can check that out if you're somebody like sometimes people get intimidated when they see an hour-long podcast. They can just pop in for the 5 minutes and say, hey, what is going on with everything with Michigan? You have that available for you. So that's all the stuff that's going on there. Gar, let's talk about before we talk about Harbaugh. I mean, that is the lead thing. You put down the first thing, coaches moving around. What did you mean by that?
Well, I'm just looking around the country and seeing how things are going on, because it affects us. It was interesting. Alabama, Saban's been there for 17 years. He's the most successful coach ever. You can make that argument. And they don't hire from within. They go and get the best coach available. In my opinion, I think DeBoer it was a great hire. Don't care about what the guy's done and what's on that. They didn't care about the coaches on that staff. And they just said, we got to get the best guy. And I think that's a great hire. And now Washington, what do? They go turn around. They've got a guy who's a proven builder, a proven winner. He won at a small college. He won at Fresno State. He won at Washington. And instead of taking a guy on staff, bam, no, they don't want that. They go and hire another proven leader, and Jed Fish, a guy that with a little Michigan background, a guy who we're going to be competing against, who's a good recruiter, good coach. Jim coached with him. I got a lot of respect for him. He worked his way up. So that's going on. I just saw Arizona then. They did the same thing, hired a proven winner over from San Jose State. And that's what's going on. I was a little discouraged seeing go ahead, Danny.
Well, I don't know. Are you suggesting that if the Michigan job came open, that U of M should do a national search instead of looking right on their own staff, at least go out there and open it up? to
not be afraid to hire the best football coach available. That's my thing. Because if Jim was to leave, I guarantee he's taking some coaches with him.
Yeah, for sure. I'm with you on that. If timing is going to be everything, like if let's just say DeBoer was still out there and, and Fish was too, well, those would be the top two guys that Michigan would be looking at, I would think, considering those guys' resumes and everything else. But also, Chiron Moore in what he has done this year, it's also a logical choice. Like Alabama, what were they going to do? Tommy Rees has been there for 5 minutes. You're going to just tab Tommy Rees and say, hey, you're the guy. At Washington, it's not like DeBoer's been there for a long time. Like, Michigan's in a little different situation. They've got a coach. He's ready to go. And he was going to be the coach 2 years ago when Jim, had both feet out the door and almost was looking like he was headed to the Vikings. I mean, we have seen it. The succession plan was in place. I mean, it was going to be Chiron Moore. So I get that part, but that's just what you have to deal with when it's January Jim. And if you might have a point if it was 2 weeks ago, but obviously it's not.
Yeah, I'm just a believer in proven winners, Denny. I'm just not a born on third base kind of guy. I'm not a Ryan.
Are you a believer in if you have your staff and you have somebody on the staff and you know what he's all about, promoting from within? I think it's not always just like, let's go out and let's do something. I guarantee you, if Alabama had somebody that was sitting there that they thought could be the next head coach, well, then you're going to consider that guy. They didn't have anybody.
Then also let me say this. I had a lot to do with who succeeded me. And Jim, if Jim puts his stamp on him, if that day comes, then it's the best darn decision going. That's all I'm saying about that.
Well, that's what Jim will do. I mean, Jim.
Then I totally agree with it, because Jim knows better than any of us the capabilities of all of his assistants. He knows that better than anybody. He knows what they bring to the table. He knows how they coach. He knows how they recruit. He knows how they scheme. And those are the three big things that I'm looking for in a coach. But does he know how he's going to lead? How he's going to lead the whole deal. That's what hopefully he can envision, and that's what he's envisioned, that he can lead.
Well, we know what he would do because we saw it. He was taken off the field at Penn State. He didn't tab Jesse Minter, which he could have, or Mike Hart. He went to Chiron Moore, and then he didn't play game. I don't call it playing games. He didn't have the shuffling around like he did in the first 3 games. It was Chiron Moore the whole time. So it's going to be Chiron Moore. I mean, that's just how it is laid out. That's what Jim would want. Now, you could be and say, look, you're the athletic director and Ward Manuel. You could think that Ward Manuel might be like, well, now that Jim's gone, I can do what I want. That's nice to have his stamp of approval and everything, but we're going to look elsewhere. But I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think they like Moore, and he's going to be the guy.
Yeah, no, I just saw the guy leave Buffalo. He was there given an opportunity. He was there for 3 years. And now he's leaving him in the middle of the night, having done nothing but destroy that program. And now he's going to go be an assistant at Alabama. I don't agree with that. I saw the guy that was at Southern Alabama. Now at least he won a little bit. Now he's going to Alabama. I just question some of these guys. They get these, they get an opportunity to build a program, and leaving in the middle of the night, having done nothing but lose. Just got to voice my disgust in it, Denny.
Well, there's part of it. I get that. You think about loyalty and what you've done with a team, but if you take a step back, it's business and it's money, and I know that all gets involved in sports nowadays. But if you're a coach, I mean, you're thinking about the team you're with, and you've put fully in there, but then you're also thinking about yourself, and that gets us to Jim Harbaugh. Like, there's nobody more of a Michigan man than Jim Harbaugh. But Jim Harbaugh right now, he has done it the last 3 years. Jim Harbaugh is thinking about Jim Harbaugh. He's not thinking about Michigan, and that's just the price.
I disagree with that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, because I think I think Jim wants to be at Michigan. I don't think money's that big an issue with him wanting to be at Michigan. I think this stuff with the way the whole investigation was handled. I wonder if he questions how much we fought for him. I think that yeah, Denny, I'm just I'm at a little loss of words here. I think.
Well, let me jump in because I'm not at a loss for words. Jim Harbaugh won the national championship. He's a Michigan man. You know, he's beloved. Yeah, he's earned the right to go out there and talk to the NFL teams and everything else. All of this bidding that is done by Harbaugh insiders and people that are close to Harbaugh, Ward's this and Stapleton's that. Jim, he's got his agent. Harbaugh said this 3 years ago, and people forget about this, and, they just stand in line with him when, nobody was giving him the time of day after coming off the pandemic season. Harbaugh was terse with a reporter that said, hey, did you think about, the NFL? And he said, look, judge me by my actions. And that's what I've done ever since. His actions are that he wants to go to the NFL. He likes flirting with the NFL. He likes chaos. He doesn't get along with people that are authority figures. We trace that back to San Francisco. So are we looking at his track record and actually what he does? Or are we believing things that people are that are Harbaugh fans and Harbaugh supporters, that his agent or somebody else is going to say? Let's stick to the facts.
Okay, so you mean he didn't get along with he didn't get along with Bulky, who was already proven as a dysfunctional leader, the same guy that they fired it. Okay, so he didn't get along with a guy who was already proven as a failed leader. Bottom line, one of the key
things. It doesn't seem like is he getting along with the people at Michigan?
Well, let's take a look. Let's take a look. Why does he have to have these three? The big thing that I've saw in this whole deal, he don't trust Ward Manuel. That's where we're at. Okay, he wants this triumvirate or whatever you want to call it. He wants three people to decide things. He doesn't want it put in one guy's hand. That's a terrible situation. Okay, I dealt with an athletic director. That relationship has to be. You guys got to be united at the hip. The Lions are united. Holmes and the coach. And in college and high school, it's all the same thing. You got to be speaking one thing. I do think Jim has had the money's not an issue. I think he's getting the resources, the NIL resources. I think all that stuff's good. But I think there's something there that he doesn't feel comfortable with Ward fighting for him. And if you look at what he's asking for, he basically just said it. Okay, if he wants three guys to decide his fate, three people to decide his fate. Danny, when you get a job, the guy that hired him is gone. Jim Hackett is gone, and when you get hired, that's your guy. That matters as a football coach, the person that brings you in. But that guy is gone, and we don't know, okay? You and I don't know exactly the intricacies of that relationship, but when the coach asks for three people to be involved in those kind of decision making, that tells you everything you need to know about the trust in that relationship between Harbaugh and Ward Manuel.
Well, then I would then put the onus on Ono to remove his athletic director if there's something there. And that's what Harbaugh should make it clear with his agent and everything else. If he needs to have the president behind him and the athletic director, and he doesn't think that those two guys are ready to go to war with him, with NIL, fight the SEC, fight the NCAA, try to put this down, put sweeteners in the contract, even though you said he doesn't care about money, making sure that, he's got bill self-protection from the NCAA. He wants to fight and he's ready to go for Michigan and all that. Well, then he should put that down instead of how he is operating with it, because what it looks like, Scar, is that he's always kicking the can or slow playing. And what you're talking about with those, the three people advisory board and everything else, it was also in that report. They didn't want anything, or the story, I should say, they didn't want anything to, start taking effect on February 15th. To me, that showed his cards. Like, if anybody was, thinking about, well, he's just out in the NFL just because. No, he's wanting to test the waters. It's obvious. 2 years ago, he was testing the waters. 3 years ago, he wanted to, and nobody would give him the kind of time of day. Last year, after he said he wasn't going to talk to anybody anymore, he talked to 2 teams. So look, he's got the right. He's won the national championship. Let's just not look, if he really wants to be at Michigan and it's all this dancing around and politics and, he didn't like the haircut that he had to take and, he doesn't get along with Ward, then he should tell his agent to tell the president to get rid of the athletic director. There's no more power that Harbaugh will ever have than right now. Make the move, Jim.
Yeah,
everybody, how Michigan fans, I'll give you 100 Michigan fans. All 100 are behind Jim Harbaugh. 0 are behind Ward Manuel. So make the move.
Yeah, well, the great leadership, if Ono is that guy, you find a way to take these 2 guys, you take what Jim wants, look at what's going on in Ward's mind, and you find a way to make it work. So, Ono, you're making a ton of money, figure it out. Find a way to move forward with both of these guys. I don't have to love my athletic director as a head football coach, but I have to have a workable relationship with him. I think, I'm not interested in firing, that's the only answer to the problem. Hopefully we have the kind of leadership there with Ono that, because I don't know, Jim may be looking at, he's thought all these things out. He's got legal representation, I'm sure. And, what happened to Chris Partridge? Why is he gone? How much of a fight did Michigan put defending him? And we don't know everything that he did. I don't know everything he did. But did we fight for him? Did somebody pound the table for our guy? I mean, we don't know. But for Jim to have these 3 people, he's doubting whether there's somebody that'll come out swinging for him. Okay, because I want that from my athletic director. I want someone that's going to come out swinging and not let Chris Partridge go on down the road. Tough break, kid. I did the best I could.
Yeah, or he, as he has indicated, he really wants a Super Bowl and that he feels like his legend is secure at Michigan. And when they weren't giving him the time of day 3 years ago, now they're tripping all over him, to go to the league. And Michigan fans, even though they don't like it, know he's the best coach that has ever been the head football coach at Michigan. And he'll have a statue one day. His legend is secure. So, I mean, there's also that piece. I mean, it's hard when you're a big time Michigan fan to look at the other side that, hey, he really might want to go to the NFL. He really may have wanted to go last year. He really may have wanted to go the year before and the year before. I mean, it's out there. So there is that chance. I mean, there's a chance that it's not all this, well, Ward, won't back him. And, Ward's letting the contract sit on the desk for 3 weeks. And, Ward won't give him the protection that he wants. Ward, is stonewalling him when it comes to the NIL. Harbaugh could be involved in those things too, where he's trying to get to January where he can talk to these NFL teams. I mean, there is a world where that's possible, right, Scar?
Yeah. Denny, I'm coming on the side that if this investigation BS never happened, if these mistakes hadn't happened, I'm convinced that Jim would be the Michigan coach, and I think he would finish up. That's what I believe. But he's dealing with something that he doesn't feel comfortable with the kind of support he might get if the blankety blank hits the fan and the NCAA comes around again. And, he just wants to know how much he's going to get. They're going to fight for him. So, Denny, I don't know the answer to that question.
I don't either, but I would say this when it comes down to all the NCAA stuff. And, I didn't like how it was going in real time. I don't know if anybody liked how it was going on in real time. The suspension right to the last second looked like they were making a mountain out of a molehill, all of that kind of stuff. But you have to admit that Harbaugh is at least guilty of, those first 3 games with, they came in when it was watching video, when it was paying for recruits' food and everything. Those were level 2 violations. They increased to level 1 when he didn't cooperate. So he's at least had a hand. Whether you want to say it was a mountain or a molehill, he's had a hand in creating, the situation. And I don't know, Partridge, was he ready to stand up in the middle of right at the end of the season? I mean, that was the week of the Ohio State game. I mean, what was he going to do there? He wasn't even the acting head coach. I mean, that's quite a situation if that's, what he's going to be butthurt about. Like,
I don't know, all the details there, but I mean, the guy stood up for something, Partridge, and I don't know how much did Michigan fight for him, Danny. I don't know, and maybe there's still something there in Jim's mind about, this is the guy when we were struggling that told me to take a pay cut. Maybe he was hoping I'd go on down the road, take this pay cut. Maybe he thought Jim's ego would say, okay, I had enough of that. And that's what he was hoping for. I don't know, but
nobody was going to give him a job.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think he would have if the NFL, like if the Bears, the Bears ended up making the playoffs that year. I always thought that if the Bears didn't make the playoffs there, that they would have been interested in Harbaugh. I think he would have gone. Now, this is all, we can all believe what we want to believe. Harbaugh's protectors made it clear to that, no, that was not the case. He was standing by his original intentions and the contract that he had signed, and he was going to be a Michigan man. Look, man, he likes a lot of balls in the air. He likes a lot of things going on. I don't think Harbaugh can just wake up and go mow the lawn and drink some milk and, just think about the team. He's got to have a lot of stuff going on. That's what makes him, Jim Harbaugh.
He wants chaos. He wants conflict. He likes
all that stuff.
I think we beat that up. I'm going to go over a couple other things unless you want to keep going on Jim.
Well, let me see if anybody's got any thoughts about. We'll read a little bit. That's why we're on live. We like to hear from the Michigan fans, just what they're thinking about. Sam is saying he's just drifting around on cloud 9. He's got victories over State, Ohio, Bama, Washington. He's putting up the Big Ten championship, the Rose Bowl, and the national championship. So, he's looking at, what we're saying and me screaming and everything else, but I don't think he's all that worried about, all of that. Jesse is saying that Jim's family is here, lives on the street with his parents. His wife doesn't want to leave. Why go to a crap hole that is LA to work for the Spanos family? You could jump in on any of these, Scar, if you like if you have something to say. Shadyville says it means nothing but drama. You're supposed to capitalize on winning. We're losing recruits and not bringing in any of the elite transfers out there. What about that point?
No, I mean, he's right. I mean, you would have thought you win a championship, and here we are at 20 last year. That's people are using it against Michigan in recruiting. You got to believe that people are using it to negative recruit. And I hope Ono can earn whatever the kind of money he's making and get this thing worked out so Jim is comfortable and him and Ward can work through it. And that's what I believe, Danny. And I'm just going to one more statement, Danny. I'm a guy that firmly believes in a proven winner. Okay, that's it. That's me on that. Scar's right. That's me, man. I'm a proven winner guy. I'm not a born on third base kind of believer, man. Unless you've been in there, a good 45, 50-year-old guy who's maybe been assistant, a coordinator for maybe 20 years. That might be a little different deal, but. Anyway,
so what about? Let me just jump in there. So is Chiron Moore, if he gets the Michigan job, will he have been born on third base?
What's the difference between him and Ryan Day? Situation.
I don't know. So
it's the exact same situation. It's the exact same situation, Denny. Both of them are offensive coordinators, unproven leaders. What's the difference?
Well, you never heard me. I mean, it was fun, talking about third base, but here's the difference is. Sometimes you go out there, and this is the whole thing in sports. You tab the young guy before he is that guy. And I would look to the Detroit Lions and Dan Campbell. People were like, this is the guy you're going to hire over. Yeah, this is the guy they're going to hire. Brad Holmes coming in from the LA Rams or whatever they were at the time, coming in from the Rams. You know, was he born on third base? No, he was a young guy that was with another organization. The Lions tabbed him. That's what great organizations do. You know, you're talking about, going out and getting a proven leader. Right now, you know, like, so DeBoer, it's water under the bridge. I mean, Harbaugh is still here. Should they have, you know, Alabama, if he was, I think it's a good conversation if there's guys out there. There's not even anybody out there. But there's also the part with rewarding people that you know and tabbing the young guy that, you know, can be that player or can be that coach.
You got a job at Buffalo.
LSU, when Nick freaking Saban was at MSU and was just sitting out there, he didn't look all that great. And you know what LSU did? You know what LSU did? They went and got Nick Saban. Was that
who they replaced Saban with at Michigan State? I'm trying to remember that.
Who did Saban come in for?
Who they replaced Saban with at Michigan State? Help me out there. I can't remember.
Bobby Williams, I think.
Oh, there you go. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, I was thinking about LSU going out there and hiring the guys. They found Nick Saban. That's hard. It's harder to do. I'll give you that. You know, Alabama, after Saban went to the NFL, they said, look, this is the greatest guy out there. Let's go out there and get him. Yeah. Is there, who's that coach right now out there, Scar? I mean, like, if they were going, like, I would say what Jesse Minter has done and what Chiron Moore have done, you know, those guys, you know, they hit a lot of the marks that you're looking for.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just wish some of our guys, I'm praying Tyrone Wheatley crushes it at Wayne State, Denny. Seriously praying that Tyrone crushes it. I want Leffler at Bowling Green to crush it. Okay. There's a bunch of Michigan guys out there. You got Larry Foote over there. I wish he would take a head coaching job in college or something. He's out there with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm always praying and hoping that all these Michigan guys, the Buffalo job is open. Michael Hart, go get that job. The South Alabama job is open. San Jose State is open. I wish some of these Michigan guys, these assistants we have, would take those jobs and prove themselves. And those guys, if they prove themselves 3-4 years, they're a hell of a lot more marketable in my eyes than some guy who's just been on the staff. Just keeping it real, Danny.
Yeah, well, I'll keep it real too, Scar. If we were back, you know, in the 60s and, you know, Canham came to you and said, what about this German butcher, you know, down at Ohio State? You'd be like, I want a Michigan man.
Proven at Miami, Ohio. He was a proven winner at Miami, Ohio. He was exactly what I talk about. He was a proven winner at Miami, Ohio at a lower level. Proven leader. That's what I'm talking about. Give me a guy that can go into some crummy situation and turn it around.
Is there somebody out there that you're looking at that you think that
no,
I'm just, be the next I mean, even anybody. Is there? I mean, who is the group of 5 coach right now? You want to go get Leopold at Kansas? I mean, he looks like a great coach. A little older. He's a proven winner. He's got a great track record. It is as good as yours. You would rather have Leopold than Chiron Moore.
I'd want to sit down and get a feel for everybody and talk to them. I'm not in the interviewing process, okay? And I'm not.
That's not a bad idea, Scar. Like, so you would open it up.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to hear what everybody has to say. I'm not just putting this. I want to. If I'm the guy doing the hiring, you know, I want to hear what Jim. If Jim is leaving, I'd want to hear what his thoughts about the assistants. I want to get a feel for everything. There's things they know about those coaches that I don't. You know. I don't know all the, you know, I'm not in that interview. I've been in plenty of interviews though, and there's a lot of questions I want to know, and there's things people I want to talk to, and references, and see, you know, there's just a lot. So, Denny, let's get on to some of these transfers and the things where I think Michigan stands with our players. There's a lot of really good things going on. Let's just talk defense. All right, really good thing.
Scar, we've got to get to the film. We've got to get to the film.
Okay,
so
we can transition now then, I guess.
We are going to get to the film, so we will see you on the other link here in 30 seconds, and we'll talk some film.